she forgave him once. She believed love was stronger than betrayal. But what happened next, no one saw coming. When Ava Mitchell decided to forgive Ryan Caldwell, she thought their love story would heal. Instead, her forgiveness unlocked a truth buried deeper than the betrayal itself, a truth that would turn both their lives upside down. Ava Mitchell never imagined her life would take such a painful turn. She wasn't the dramatic type, never searched through her partner's phone, never suspected hidden messages or late-night conversations. She believed in trust, deeply, wholeheartedly. But one ordinary evening, reality shattered. Ryan had left his phone on the couch, something he often did. A message preview appeared on the screen. Not the words, but the name. A name Ava didn't recognize. A name she had never heard him mention. Her heart skipped. She picked up the phone, not out of snooping, but instinct. Something felt wrong. The message opened by itself when she tapped the screen. And there it was. A long thread of emotional conversations. Words full of vulnerability and connection. Words that belonged to her, not another woman. He told her about his fears, his stresses, his loneliness. Things Ava thought they shared openly. She stared at the screen, feeling her hands shake. The betrayal wasn't physical, it was emotional, deeper than anything she imagined. When Ryan walked in and saw the phone in her hand, he froze. His face drained of color, his shoulders collapsed, and he knew. Everything was exposed. Ava didn't scream, she didn't cry. She asked one question, her voice trembling. "Why wasn't I enough for you?" Ryan broke. He admitted everything, how the emotional affair started when he felt weak, overwhelmed, and ashamed of secrets he never shared. He insisted nothing physical happened, but Ava felt the sting of every word exchanged with another woman. She left his apartment that night with her heart in pieces, unsure whether she ever wanted to see him again. The days that followed were filled with silence, tears, and confusion. Ava's friends urged her to move on, to cut all ties. But the truth was more complicated. She loved him. She hated that she did, but she did. Ryan begged for forgiveness. Therapy sessions were scheduled, promises made, hearts dissected. And after weeks of reflection, Ava made the hardest decision of her life. She forgave him. Not for him, but for her own healing. She believed forgiveness would close the chapter. But instead, it opened the first page of a deeper, unexpected story. Forgiving Ryan was one thing. Learning to trust him again felt like rebuilding a house after a fire. Every piece had to be examined before placing it back. Ava didn't expect the process to be easy, but she didn't expect it to feel this fragile either. Ryan agreed to complete transparency, location sharing, open phone access, weekly counseling sessions. He didn't argue, he didn't resist. If anything, he was overly cooperative. He sent her long messages explaining his day, his thoughts, his actions. He wrote letters apologizing for the emotional pain he caused. He brought her flowers, cooked for her, surprised her with quiet evenings in. But Ava still felt that heaviness, a weight that whispered, "What if he fails you again?" The emotional affair created invisible cracks, moments of silence that felt too long, smiles that seemed forced, late-night calls that carried attention she couldn't explain. One night, Ava woke up to the sound of Ryan talking quietly in the hallway. Her heart raced. Was it happening again? She didn't want to snoop, she hated that part of herself, but fear pushed her forward. She found Ryan with his head in his hands, whispering, "I can't do this. I don't know what to say." When he saw her, he hung up fast. Her stomach dropped. He insisted it was work. He insisted nothing was wrong. But Ava saw the fear in his eyes, the same fear she saw during the emotional affair. Their counselor encouraged her to communicate instead of assuming, so she did. She sat Ryan down and asked him directly if there was anyone else. His answer was immediate. "No, I swear." But the anxiety in him didn't go away. In fact, it grew worse. Ryan became jumpy, distracted, lost in thought. He had moments of panic, sleepless nights, and sudden disappearances he blamed on work emergencies. Ava wondered if forgiveness was a mistake, but deep inside, she sensed something different this time, as if Ryan wasn't hiding another woman, but hiding something about himself. And she was right. The truth wasn't another betrayal. It was something far more heartbreaking. The night Ryan finally broke down was the night Ava realized she didn't fully know the man she loved. He came home pale, trembling, eyes red from holding back tears. Ava tried to speak, but Ryan sank to the floor, pulling at his own hair as if trying to keep from falling apart. "Ava, I can't lie anymore," he choked. "I have to tell you the real reason everything happened." Ava braced herself, expecting the worst, expecting another betrayal, expecting her heart to break again. But what Ryan said next stunned her. He revealed a secret he'd kept buried for years. He had been diagnosed with a life-threatening hereditary heart condition, the same condition that killed his father at 38 and his uncle at 34. Ryan was 31. He said he didn't tell her because he didn't want to burden her with a future that might end too soon. He was terrified she'd leave him out of fear, or worse, stay with him out of pity. The emotional affair? It happened during his darkest period. He was lost, scared, and ashamed of feeling broken. He talked to someone who didn't know him deeply, someone who didn't expect him to be strong. His betrayal was cowardly, but not romantic. It was born of fear, not lack of love. Ava's anger evaporated into heartbreak. Her hands shook as she approached him. For months, she believed he didn't choose her, but the truth was he didn't want to burden her. He said he scheduled extra tests in secret. He feared they'd reveal he had less time than he hoped. That was why he acted distant, why he panicked at night, why he made excuses. Ava realized all the signs she interpreted as betrayal were actually signs of a man terrified of dying young. She knelt beside him and whispered, "You should have trusted me with the truth." His entire body collapsed into her arms. That night, they cried together for the lies, the pain, the fear, and the love they almost lost. But their story didn't end here. It was about to take a turn no one expected, not even the doctors. After Ryan's confession, Ava expected to feel trapped, scared, overwhelmed. Instead, something inside her shifted. All the pain from the emotional affair remained, but now it had context. Pain mixed with compassion, betrayal mixed with truth. She didn't stay because she felt obligated. She stayed because the man she loved was hurting more deeply than she realized. They started a new journey, together. Doctor appointments filled their weeks, specialists, cardiologists, test after test. Ava noticed the toll it took on Ryan. The long hospital hallways brought back memories of losing his father. Each waiting room's silence made his hand shake. But Ava was there for all of it. She held his hand through blood tests, sat beside him during heart scans, listened closely to every medical explanation. She became his strength, the same strength she wished he had trusted months ago. Their relationship changed, not instantly, but gradually. The walls fell, the lies ended, and the conversations deepened. For the first time ever, Ryan talked openly. He told Ava about the fear he carried since childhood, about watching his father collapse, about feeling like his life was a countdown. Ava didn't have all the answers. She wasn't a superhero. But she stayed, through every moment of anxiety, every sleepless night, every fear that surfaced. And for the first time, Ryan allowed himself to break, not in secrecy, but in her arms. Their counselor noticed the shift too. Ryan was becoming more transparent, more vulnerable, more emotionally honest. Trust was slowly rebuilding, not because Ryan was perfect, but because he was finally real. Yet, even as they made progress, Ava knew something was coming. Ryan's major full-heart evaluation, the one that would determine his future, was approaching. Both of them feared the worst. Both braced themselves for devastating news. But destiny had a different plan, one neither of them imagined, one that would turn their entire story upside down. The day of Ryan's major evaluation felt heavier than any day before. Ava didn't sleep the night before. Neither did Ryan. His hands were ice cold as they walked into the hospital. This was it. The test that would determine whether he had years or months. Hours passed. Machines whirred. Doctors whispered. Ryan's anxiety reached the point where he couldn't breathe without Ava holding his hand. Finally, the specialist walked in. Older, calm, experienced. He pulled up the results and took a long breath. "Ryan," he said gently, "you're healthy." At first, Ryan didn't react. He thought he misheard. The doctor continued. "There is no sign of the hereditary condition you were told you had. Your earlier results were misdiagnosed, incorrect. You never had the disorder." Ava gasped. Ryan's eyes widened, but no words came out. The doctor explained that the initial diagnosis, made years ago at a small clinic, had misinterpreted Ryan's irregular heartbeat pattern. It wasn't a deadly condition. It was a harmless variation. Ryan wasn't dying. He wasn't doomed. His life wasn't on a countdown. Everything he feared, everything that pushed him into secrecy, everything that led to the emotional affair was built on a false diagnosis. Ryan broke down, not in sorrow, but in relief so overwhelming his knees gave out. Ava held him as he sobbed into her chest. All those years he lived in fear. All the decisions he made under the weight of a future he thought he didn't have. All the heartbreak Ava endured. All of it came from a mistake. Ava felt a blend of emotions: grateful, angry, relieved, heartbroken, hopeful. But above all, she felt something she hadn't felt in a long time: freedom. The truth changed everything. Ryan wasn't a man running from death. He was a man given a second chance at life. And that second chance would soon transform their relationship forever. Ryan's misdiagnosis didn't just save his life, it reshaped their entire relationship. For the first time, he lived without fear. He woke up without the shadow of death hanging over him. He loved Ava not from a place of desperation, but from genuine gratitude and clarity. Therapy sessions changed. They no longer focused on betrayal or fear, they focused on rebuilding a future they now knew they actually had. Ryan apologized again, this time with a heart that wasn't afraid to be alive. He told Ava he regretted every secret, every emotional conversation with another woman, every moment he hid the truth from her. Ava forgave him again, not because she was weak, but because she understood now. Pain transforms people. Fear twists judgment. And love? Love has the power to rewrite endings. Their relationship grew stronger. Not perfect, but real, healthy, honest, and alive. They traveled together. They laughed more. Ryan finally planned for a future he once avoided, a future with Ava. 1 year later, on a quiet beach at sunset, Ryan knelt down, hands shaking, tears forming, and asked Ava a question he was once too afraid to ask. "Will you marry me?" She said yes, not to the man who betrayed her, but to the man who fought his demons, told the truth, healed, and grew. Their story became a testament to something powerful. Forgiveness doesn't erase the past, but it opens the door to a different future. A future full of honesty, a future full of growth, a future full of love. Ava and Ryan didn't end up together because they were perfect. They ended up together because they chose grace over resentment, and life rewarded them in a way neither expected. Their story began with betrayal, but ended with hope. Sometimes forgiveness reveals more than the truth. It reveals the heart behind the mistakes. If this story touched you, don't forget to like, subscribe, and join us for more emotional, life-changing stories every week.